Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to Atlasworld, the Aidcall Wireless Nurse Call webinar in conjunction with Aidcall by Legrand. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Joe Gillian, Contract Sales Surveyor at Atlasworld, and we're looking forward to showing you the latest in wireless nurse call technology in the shape of the Aidcall TouchSafe Pro system. If you have any questions, please type them in the chat box and we'll answer them at the end. I'd like to welcome Paul Sanders from Aidcall to give you the presentation for the webinar. Over to you, Paul.
Thank you very much, Joe. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. As Joe said, my name is Paul Sanders. I'm the Business Development Manager at Aidcall, and I'm the main support for Atlas on any of the nurse call requirements that they have. This is my first seminar, so please be gentle, but I've broken it down into three stages to try and keep it as interesting as possible. The first one should last about 10 minutes, just an introduction to Aidcall, Legrand, and also a brief overview of the products. You'll then see a demonstration of the equipment. That should last about 10 to 12 minutes. That's a pre-recorded video, and then obviously at the end we'll review any questions that you may have. So here we go, first slide. Here we go, sorry, technical issue there. Right, who are Legrand? Well, you see, Legrand is the company behind the product. I'm not going to go through each part of these first couple of slides. I just wanted you to know that the Aidcall brand is supported by a major company that's been around for a long time. They've got 36,000 employees worldwide, so they're a big company, very forward thinking, and they've supported Aidcall throughout the last 6 or 7 years that they've managed us to introduce a new product, which I'm going to show today. And we form part of the company. As you can see there, they've got many other companies which they are involved in. We are like I said, the assisted living and healthcare division. You can see on the top left. Within assisted living and healthcare, there's 3 brands. The one you can see on the right is the Aidcall Nurse Call brand, which we're going to look at today. But it's also got assisted living and technical telecare products, which I know that Atlas will also support. These are used in ward and controlled areas. And the monitoring center solutions, the company's called John Tech, and they basically monitor any calls that come through from the assisted products. So I'm going to start off on the nurse call systems. Who are Aidcall? Aidcall been in the business of nurse call for many years, going back to 1979. They were purchased initially by TimeTech, who, like I said just now, are the ward and control company, back in 2010, and developed the products before it was then purchased by Legrand in 2013. Legrand spent a lot of money on investing in product and turning product and making sure it's as technical as the market requires. And over the last 5 or 6 years, they've introduced additional products to the TouchSafe Pro range and make sure we're at the forefront of the industry. Legrand obviously set up the assisted living and healthcare. We're a #1 supplier of radio nurse call in the UK with around 40% of the market share. And within the company, we manufacture it and we also design it, and it's all made in our factory on our factory in Blyth up in Northumberland. Why would you choose Aidcall? Well, there's a few key features listed on this slide which make us stand out above. Hopefully you can still hear me. Yeah, hopefully you can hear me. So there's key features that the Aidcall Nurse Call system will give you. We're the only nurse call company to use the XB DigiMesh network. So basically, we are able to offer a secure system. We're also able to run software at the end of the installation to check all the devices on site and give you a visual plan of your site and how all the products work between each device, so that you know you have total coverage across the system. It also ensures it's secure, and that and on the dynamic routing, we make sure that the information, the data gets through as quickly and as reliably as possible. We've also got next call waiting feature on the call points. Because we're a two-way radio, we got reassurance from when a call's been made. It goes through to the main panel and come back, reassures the user that the call's being sent and registered and that somebody's on their way. The next call from that bedhead, so you don't need to go to a panel to find out where you've got to go to next, just to improve the efficiency of the system. We're fully telecare enabled. We've got about 30 to 35 products which can be easily registered onto the system to give you any real needs that your site may have. Active door monitoring. We'll go through some of these things as we go through the presentation, but we can monitor doors, and that's live data coming through to the panel, so you know if they're open or closed. We got fault monitoring, so the system is constantly checking itself to make sure there are no faults or there's no issues with mains power, things like that. Instead of a standard call location coming up on the panel, we can give it to you as a map, so you can see visually where the call's coming from. And we also have things like push notifications. So if you want your calls to, and we normally use these for non-essential calls, but if you want calls to come through to a mobile device, such as a maintenance call, then we can offer that within the solution. There's many more things as well. Obviously, this is a wireless system. You can easily expand it. So if you want to start off with a basic system and then add rooms or add extra panels, extra pages, that sort of thing, that can all be easily added in at a later date. I think our core login is second to none. We've got full audit trail. We've got staff ID, so you can check everything that's going on across your site. And that can be easily downloaded, and reports can be created within the software and emailed to yourselves as well. We have staff ID, we have paging with staff ID, so you can log yourselves in and out of rooms so you know who's gone into rooms. And like we said earlier, telecare is a key feature. Bed sensors, fall detectors, PIRs can all easily be added to the system. So why wireless? Well, the installation initially is very quick. It's not disruptive to your users. We can normally keep the old system working while we install the new system. And it's very flexible. You can easily move products around once it's been installed. You can move those around yourselves as you maybe change around the design of the bedroom or your dining room or whatever room you may need to look at. Ongoing maintenance is minimal. With wired networks, you obviously have issues with cabling. This is fully wireless, so you don't need to worry about anything like that. And usually a yearly maintenance visit is enough to keep the system working well. And also, you know, you're not relying on anything stationary. Your system is very flexible. And like I said, you can easily expand it when required. This is just a quick pictorial image of a system that's been installed. So this will show you we call them RFEs, basically the aerial nodes across the site. We can see the signal strength between each one, so we know that the system is always going to work in all areas. We check that on every site, make sure it's stable, and you're not going to get any issues with coverage. I don't think any other wireless manufacturer can offer that. I'll just whiz through these next few slides. Our systems are ideal for any environment, whether it be care home, hospice, or hospital. these images here are specified for care home, but they can actually be used anywhere. We're fully HTM compliant. So whereas in this picture here, you can see the call point in the bottom right corner, that's for standard care home, but we also do the HTM version with an emergency pull or the cardiac pull button. Shows you one of the fall detectors there at the top as well, which is part of the telecare range. The TouchSafe Pro panel at the top is really the main intelligence of the system. It triages calls, so you can see there are various different call types coming through: cardiac, emergency, standard call, and nurse presence. Everything that goes on there gets recorded, date stamped and time stamped, so you can always look back at that information when you need it. And you can see the cardiac call point there below. So that's a picture there of the system installed in a hospital environment. And hospices as well. We obviously support a lot of hospices across the UK. A couple more products there. You've got the audio visual indicator at the top, the AVI. We can put in follow me lights as required. These products are actually wired, so it's the only part of the system that is wired. And we wire those because we don't want you to be changing batteries frequently on that type of device, when in most instances it's pretty stable and doesn't move too often. So we actually cable that one back to the panel. And on the bottom right, you've got the Bluebell Pager. We do a couple options of pager. This one is by far the best. It's waterproof, it's IP67 rated. It gives you staff ID. It also got staff attack option. So you got to see the red button on the bottom there. That can send a broadcast call out to all users who have got the Bluebell to say somebody's been attacked, and that location of where the call's coming from. Couple different panels available, 15-inch or the 10-inch. They basically do the same thing. Obviously, one's a little bit smaller. I just look down through for the key elements. You can see on the one to the left, it's got the mapping option, so you can see pictorially where the call's coming from. Or on the right-hand side, you can see the display and how that would be shown on a normal system. There's lots of different things you can set up within the panel. We probably haven't got time to go through them all today in this webinar, but I'm sure that the guys from Atlas will be more than happy to go through that with you. But it's got mapping, triages calls. You can have a bed status option to see, so if you know if your beds are empty, if they need cleaning. All the plastics and all the systems are antimicrobial. All call history is available. So yeah, there's lots of different things there that we can do. This is a call point, shows you the current bed status there and the nurse present. I won't dwell on that there, but you can see the fixing at the bottom. That's how the unit actually slots to the wall. Lots of different fixing there, and it can also support bed light operation as well. So if you've got an overbed light, you can plug into the back of the unit, and with a 2-button pair push, you can either make a call or turn the light on and off. Ceiling pull cords are very popular for en-suites or bathroom wet areas. They will put a call onto the system. You can see the image there on the right hand side. They've also got reassurance light on them, and also the anti-ligature safety brake as well, which is easily put back on again once it's been pulled off. Door monitoring. This is for internal doors or fire exit doors, drugs cabinets. Very simple to install. Again, wireless. You've got a red emergency button there you can press if you want, but basically they're activated by a door opening and activating the call onto the system. There's also a tab on the top right of the panel, which is marked up with doors. If you press that tab, it will show you all your doors and their status, which is very useful. Talked about the staff attack page a little bit earlier. It uses infrared and it also uses radio. And like I said, it's a very robust pager, waterproof, and one of our top sellers. For telecare, you need some extra receivers, but they seamlessly work with the rest of the system. They're on a different frequency, 169 megahertz, but they enable you to use around 30 to 35 different telecare devices. So well worth adding to the system, even if you're not sure what you need them for initially. These are a few of the products: the fall detector, there on your left, so you can either make a pendant call by pressing the grey button, or it will activate if it believes that somebody has fallen. And there's different settings you can set that one up so that it alerts. On the right hand side, you have the touch pendant. This is shower proof, can be worn around the neck or the wrist, and will also activate a call. It's also got reassurance lights as well on those products. Bed sensors, so you can have wireless bed sensors with a telecare. They plug, the blue mats you see on the right will plug into the controller on your left, and then you can associate them with any call point across the site, so you haven't got trailing cables going up to call points. This is a quick slide on the call logger. Like I said earlier, I think it's one of the best on the market. It stores everything that the panel does, dates and date stamps it, time stamps it. You can sort by room number, emergency type, staff ID, and you can see there's graphs you can set up, and you can also just download those into a preset report, that whatever you want. Like I said, we're one of the biggest suppliers of wireless nurse call across the UK. This is a few of our customers across the care home market, some customers in the hospice market, NHS sites across the UK. This is just a small amount. And that's really the first part of the presentation for today. That's me. It's not a very complimentary picture, but what I'm going to do now is just hand you back over to Peter or Joe, and just then upload my demonstration video.
Thanks, Paul. Thank you very much. It shouldn't take too long to get that going. As I say, if anybody has any questions, pop them into the chat box there, and we'll answer them at the end of the presentation.
Sorry, Joe, be right there. Okay, can you see me there? Is that okay, Joe?
We've got a still picture, Paul. Yep.
Yeah, well, I'm going to press play.
Sorry, Paul, we've lost your volume.
Right. Can you hear nothing, Joe?
No, we can't hear the commentary.
Right. Can you hear that?
No, your volume is very low on the commentary.
Okay.
Apologies, folks. Technical issue.
I can't turn my volumes up anymore. They're all active as well. What I'll do, what I can do is try and talk you through what I'm doing. Would that be okay if you can't hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is going to be right. Okay, basically, I'm just saying thank you to everyone there for listening so far. And I'm just going to go through a quick demonstration on the system. Yeah, like I said, it's going to take about 10-12 minutes, so you're going to have to bear with us on this. It's a slight technical issue. Just talking you around the board, the top left unit that you can see there is are the call points. There's a couple options on show there. The top left one is the emergency call point. Bottom left would be normally used on the care home. On the right hand side, you've got the 15-inch panel. Like I said, we also do a 10-inch panel. In the center, we have the door monitor. These are used for internal or external doors, drugs cabinets, and on the top right, you have the what you can see on the table in front is a selection of telecare products. So what I've done, I've started on the top left. you can see I slid the core point off of the wall plate. Very simple to do. That enables you to move that core point into a different part of the room if needed. What some customers have is multiple wall plates, so you can put them in multiple places in the room, and it just gets the most out of your wireless product. Yeah, so we have cardiac versions. We have these units you can see here are the LCD version. There's also a non-LCD version. The benefit of the LCD version is you get next call waiting. So when you close a call down, what you'll see on the front of the display is where you need to go to next. So it just improves efficiency of your staff across the site. On the back, yeah, here we go. On the back of the unit, you can see it's battery operated. So there's 3 AA batteries within each unit. The battery life on those is up to 3 years, and that's based on 5 activations and 5 cancellations a day. So also the system checks itself. So if the batteries are getting low, then it will tell you on the panel that you need to change the batteries. In the bottom there, you have 2 slots. The one on the left is for the pair push that I just lifted up there. The one on the right is for sensory devices. So you can either plug in bed sensors or chair sensors. We're open protocol. So if you do use any sensors at the moment, there's a good chance that they will work on the system. We'll just slide that back on there. I'll just explain what I've already explained there about the multiple call points across the site. You know, they're very, if you are going to redesign your bedroom, if you've got somebody in your maintenance department, then it's very simple for you to move those units around yourselves. You don't need to pay for engineers to come out. That can be done. As long as you don't move them from bedroom to bedroom, then it's not going to cause you a problem. So the functionality of the call point is to put a call on, that any of the orange buttons will pull calls there, or you can push the power push button itself. That will put a call point, that will put a call onto the system. It'll give you an orange banner, tell you your bedroom number, start a timer off, and it will also, you can also put the resident's name in there if you want. There's also a reassurance light flashing on the power push and the call point, so you know that calls, so the user knows that call's been made. Now, when your carer goes, or your nurse goes into that ward or the bedroom, the normal thing they would do is press the green button, and that logs you into nurse present. If you've got audio visual indicators attached, also light up green. That silences the system, starts to it really helps to build up an idea of the level of care that you're given. Now, once it's in that position, all you have to do is press an orange button, which I did there. That allows you to stay with your patient and also to raise an assistance call. So if you don't want to leave the patient, you can do that quite easily by pushing or pulling any of those orange calls or buttons. That puts that. If you want to go to emergency, you can just press the red button, and there we go. It's nice and clear. If you could hear it, it would be good. With the what I did there, you the last 500 calls, so it gives you an immediate call history, and that's all the data that feeds into Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're back again. We lost you there for a minute, Paul.
Sorry, yeah. Just what I was saying there, basically, if you got people doing checks in the night, what you can do is is just get the members of staff to go in and press the green button, and that will log them in as present in the night. So when you go in the morning, if you're a manager, maybe not there overnight, you can look at the call history and see what activity was made overnight. Also, we always encourage people to press a green button when they go into any room, because that initially allows you to raise an assistance call if needed, but it also builds up the level of care you're given to your residents or your patients. Now, I've whizzed on there to the door monitor in the centre. That this basically is leaving that area or trying to break into the cupboard. There's 3 different settings. You have your active, reset, and override. So if you put it into override, you can open and close the door without any alarms. If you put it into the active position, like what's happened there, it will activate an emergency call. And then you just put it into the reset position, and you can then close that call down. The doors tab you can see on the right there, I think I mentioned earlier, allows you to go in and see the status of all your doors.
We're losing your volume again, Paul.
Yeah, can you hear me now? Okay.
Yeah.
So what we have there is the ceiling pull cord. These are used in your en-suites, bathrooms, wet areas. They've got an anti-ligature function as well. So if you pull that orange cable, that puts the call onto the panel, tells you it's a pull cord, and it will tell you if it's an en-suite and what en-suite it will be on the panel if required. And then that is cancelled from the call point. What I'm showing you there is a standard nurse call pendant. Big orange button on that one. When that one's pushed, it will put a call onto the system, and then the grey button would cancel it off. So it gives walking around the care home environment. The unit I've got in my hand now is a staff buddy. This one will allow you to, when you're doing those night checks, you can program your name in there for that buddy. So when you go into the room, press the present button, it will put a nurse present banner up on the screen, log it in the database, and tell the system who's actually been in there. And it also it works from about 1 meter away from the call point, so you don't need to maybe hover over one of your residents who's in bed. It's also a low-level staff attack unit as well. So if you pull that cord, it releases that red collar, and it sets off an emergency activation, which is then displayed onto your nurse call system. Or bedroom or your room number, and also it vibrates and bleeps. This unit here is the Bluebell Pager. This one is really our premium product as far as paging goes. It's much more. It's also got an exit function, so if you leave the building, it alerts the user, so it stops them from taking it home. As you can see, I press the staff ID on that one. That logs you into that room. Now the red button on the bottom, it is what would activate an emergency call. So it's basically, it basically gives you oh, we rushed on to something else now. Pendant just gives a standard call, fits around the arm or the neck. Fall detector only fits around the wrist, but certain levels. And the big red button there is a wireless device you can put anywhere. Structure issues with an aerial, those will bleep and flash at you, and allow you time to get an engineer to come out and What you can also do, and I haven't followed up on this demonstration, is you can access the panel, and you can go in and change multiple things. You can set up medication rooms, you can set up variable reminders, which will alert the system. All these come up on the pager. If you've got a pager active, you can change the volumes, you can change the call tones, lots and lots of different things. It allows you to add in the telecare devices without getting an engineer out. And that you can zone things, so you can zone pages to only call at certain times or when certain call points are being pressed. Things we set up for you, and the majority are done before we leave the building. Joe, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you now. Yeah.
Yeah, so the majority of the things will be set up, and every site's different. So whatever you need, we should be able to support them. We've got lots of different products there. There's a lot I haven't covered in that. Absolutely fine to me, but there's obviously some technical issues there. We've got full documentation, user guides, some training aids online now we have, which are little videos which you can watch to show you how to log telecare on, or add in new call points, that sort of thing. So that's all available. And yeah, well, I think I've pretty much covered everything there, which hopefully you got most of that okay. And yeah, are there any questions?
Thanks, Paul. There's a few questions on here. Are there any comments or concerns or permissions required from local IT departments?
Are there any issues with IT?
Yeah. Can you hear me, Paul?
Sorry, no, you were cutting out a little bit.
Yeah, we're losing your audio quite a bit here. There's quite a few questions have come in here. There's a question there about the batteries and the pull cords monitored by the system. The answer to that is yes. We're losing Paul must have a real problem with his audio there.
I can hear you occasionally.
There's a question there. Is the system limited by a number of devices?
Can you hear me okay? No, we've had systems with 20 to 30. We've had systems with hundreds of call points. So there's not really an upper limit. On the Bluebell paging, the upper limit of pages is 99. We've never got anywhere near that, but we are actually extending that now to 999. So as we create the software as well, any sort of small issues like that, we can adapt and we can change as and when we need to. But we've never been to a site where we haven't been able to cover all the areas.
Okay, and how robust are the different pieces of equipment in the system?
How robust? The call points, you know, they're not a portable part. If you drop them on concrete a few times, then they'll probably get damaged. But they are, the quality of the plastic is very good. We've invested a lot of money in tooling and also making sure things like testing of the product has been very well done. So I've never really had any issues with the quality of any of the plastics or the portable parts of the system. The infrastructure very rarely have any issues. So I think quality overall of the system is very good. My background has been from installation over into sales just a few years ago. So I spent the first couple of years of the product being installed as part of the installation team. So I've seen it all firsthand, and we have very few problems, which is one of the reasons I came across the sales. But it is a very good, robust product, and we've got some good reference sites as well, if anyone was to ever need them on the nurse care home side, and also the NHS.
Very quick question, Paul. The system cannot be connected to direct.
Yeah, well, we are looking at that. The initial response was that it can be linked to the direct system. Now, when I come over to Northern Ireland next, and that's somewhat been delayed due to the current circumstances, I was hoping that we could get together with somebody to just go through that. And Drax have said, I've just seen a message there from John. Drax have said yes. Initially, our technical team have said yes as well. So we're getting yeses from both directions. The thing is, I don't think we've tested it together, so that'd be something that would be good to do.
Thank you very much, Paul. We could come back to an earlier question there. The pull cord base battery, it's monitored on the system. Yes.
Yes, it is. Yes. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, all the batteries across all the units are monitored. So you normally get a good 2 weeks notice of whether you need to change a battery or not. But yeah, all the batteries are monitored.
And I see we've got loads of questions going in here. Where are we?
While you're looking there, I would just say, we've been involved in the Principality Stadium over in Wales doing the Nightingale site. So we've just put in, I think it's nearly 1,000 call points across that site, ready for the temporary hospital to get filled up. Luckily, there hasn't been many cases where people have needed to go in there yet, but it's just one of the products we've been working on. We've also sold multiple systems to the NHS across the UK, emergency systems, so that people can quickly set things up out of a box and just set up an area that may not have been used in the past for for the care needs. We've also done a few care homes as well, because obviously they're being hit hard as well. Just small systems to sort of support maybe failing systems or areas where they want to expand quickly, and they want to put a little independent system in. So there's lots of flexibility with the system, and we can normally respond to anything COVID related very quickly in both care homes, hospices, and not just the NHS, but obviously the NHS as well. So we're keen to do our bit where we can to support that.
Just another question here. Can call points be locked securely in the position to prevent them going missing?
Yeah, they can. We do this on some sites. Obviously, people like to steal the batteries. People like to change their Poundland batteries with a good quality AA. So you can break off the tab that you have to push to remove the call point. And there's a little line on there to show you what to do there. And then you just need to put a flat object up and behind to remove it. But it just reduces people still take them off the wall if they need to, probably, but it greatly reduces the chance of that happening.
And then we have another question here relating to Drax. It's, will the Drax connection potentially facilitate remote support from Aidcall or Atlas agent as for fault finding?
Sorry, Joe, you cut out there halfway through that one.
Apologies. It's, will the Drax connection potentially facilitate remote support from Aidcall or Atlas as an agent for the fault finding?
Potentially, we'd have to look at that. To be honest, from the Aidcall side over here, we haven't integrated that with the Drax system, so I need to have a look to see a little bit more detail what's required there. But I know yourselves and John are experts in that, so you'd have a much better idea, I think. But yeah, I'd have to go away and have a look at that one.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. That seems to be most of the questions now. Thank you very much, Paul, for your input.
No problem.
It's good of you to run that. Apologies to the attendees for the issues there with the technical issues that we had. If you have any questions, or just simply pop them or give us a call and we can answer them. Because of the technical problems, the demo there is a recording. So what I can do, I can forward the recording of that demo on to you, just in case you missed any of the audio, and hopefully that will make up for the issues with the audio. Thank you very much for your participation today, folks. You will have a little feedback poll if you wouldn't mind filling that in before you leave. Thank you very much for attending.